It's 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's Nightly News Roundup. I'm Roland Boyden, and this is 5:45 Live. On deck tonight, we'll talk about a couple key moments here in the last couple days that I'm particularly excited for, including, there we go. That's my sweet graphics. The Vermont State Nuclear Advisory Panel had a meeting last night, BSNAP. There's some fake weed or potpourri on sale in Brattleboro, find out where. And David Pacman confirms his involvement in BCTV's upcoming annual meeting. All that and more. We do it in 15 minutes. We can maybe even get you out in a little less today, so make sure you stick with us right here on 5:45 Live.
It's very widely documented that a lot of these extreme right-wing anti-gay nuts are gay, and part of them acting out in this incredibly hateful and damaging way is because of how they grew up in an unaccepting society. So the only thing, I don't hope that this guy is gay or isn't gay. I just hope that eventually he can sort out this rage and anger that has really taken over. I mean, it's almost what it is what he is known for.
Well,
David Pacman on the David Pacman Show. He has now confirmed that he's bringing the wherewithal, the charms and good looks that got him his public access background, got him onto Free Speech TV alongside the likes of Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman. He's going to bring all that wherewithal to BCTV's annual meeting coming up in October at the Brattleboro Museum and Arts Center, where all members are urged to attend, get some good free food in there, and watch clips, an awards ceremony from those that have worked hardest here at BCTV. All right, well, we're going to jump into our Reformer Roundup in just a moment, where we sum up all the latest happenings in Brattleboro's daily newspaper. And speaking of newspapers, it's Tuesday, which means the Commons has got a new paper out tomorrow. We're going to get Randy Holhut, their director there, to talk about that in just a moment. But first, my good friend Joseph Bushy tiptoeing through the door, thinking maybe I just wouldn't even notice that he's here, but we'll slide him on over here anyway. Joe, you're just in time for me to talk a little bit about the stuff we've got coming up, including our Reformer Roundup. But first, it is September 11th, and we'd be remiss to not make note of that. Now, 1 year after September 11th, BCTV producer and longtime Brattleboro Union High School social studies teacher Bill Holliday went out with his camera and documented people's feelings 1 year later. Now, 10 years after that, we've still got those clips. Take a look at what people thought with just 12 months removed from that devastating event.
The news wasn't clear in the beginning, really. We couldn't figure out what happened.
I turned on the TV and I thought, oh geez, what an accident. How could the pilot have done that?
you know, being from small town Brattleboro and watching New York City firefighters, just wondering how they're going to attack this thing, you know, 80 stories high.
I'm proud of the American people, and my heart goes out to the families that have suffered.
Filmed by Bill Holliday. Clips of folks 1 year later talking about the September 11th attacks, Brattleboro folks, including Fire Chief Mike Bacassi, who had an interesting take on it, I'm sure, as he looked trying to see from a firefighter's perspective that whole event. Joe, thanks for joining me here. Fought through some rough downtown traffic.
Sorry I'm late. There's a little traffic out there. It seems as though the paving across the river in Chesterfield has caused a bottleneck at the Rotary. And if you're headed eastbound on Route 9, good luck to you. So you may want to wait a little while for that trip.
Well, Brattleboro has got a daily newspaper, The Reformer, whose website is reformer.com. They've got a smartphone app and, of course, newsstands around town where you can pick up some paper. Joe, I like to just have us summarize very briefly a couple of their top stories so that we get the news out there. Folks, of course, can find out more about these stories by going to the Reformer's website or picking up a paper. Let's jump into it now for a moment here.
Their smartphone app, for those of you out there who haven't used it, is a great way to access their content in enough detail to get the idea of what's going on, and you can get more information directly from the paper itself. Naturally, they'd like a subscription, but for those of you who haven't used that,
nope, sorry, other way. You gotta get
closer to me. For those of you that haven't used that smartphone app, There we
You
go.
can see there, yeah.
Hey.
All right, here we go. Getting it all centered up here for our Reformer Roundup.
We're good.
You've got the script in front of you, Joe, which means I'll get the graphics. That's how we'll do it. Let's jump right
Ready?
in. Yep.
All right. Brattleboro Police seized a number of products that may contain a recently banned chemical substance from a local business this past Friday. According to the Office of National Drug Control Policy, the substance, 5-FUR-144, has hallucinogenic properties, and side effects may include agitation, anxiety, nausea, vomiting, a rapid heartbeat, elevated blood pressure, tremors, seizures, hallucinations, and paranoia.
It's pretty much all the good stuff.
What's left? And Keith A. Cotell Jr., a Bellas Falls resident, is being held without bail after pleading not guilty for 2 felonies for attempting to elude the police and a 4th DUI, and 2 misdemeanors for gross negligence of a motor vehicle and driving with a suspended license, thus being described by the judge John Wesley as a menace to society when explaining his reasoning for denying bail. And to close, Stratton resident Russell Smith is searching for his missing bear hounds. The dogs, English Blue Ticks, went missing September 5th. Their GPS tracking devices were shut off, and the Smiths have offered a $500 reward for each of the missing dogs. Now, come on, how come you didn't have the names of those dogs in there? They had three great country names. It was like Mutt, Jeff, and Bob or something like that. It escapes me right now. Maybe we can find it next time we're on a break, but
I'm sure.
I feel bad for the guy with the dogs. It sounded like he had definitely a strong attachment to those dogs.
Absolutely. Now our new staff writer, Justin Harris, did put those names in an attempt to conserve time.
What?
I made an
You cut
executive
'em?
decision.
Oh,
but
no.
Let's do this.
What were they? Clyde?
Jack, age 5, Clyde, age 7, and Rock, age 4.
Come
Terrific
on.
names. All right, you got me. Worth putting in. All right, let's move on now and talk about the flotilla that never was this weekend. Of course, we hyped it a lot, Joe, an incredibly photogenic VY protest. The premise here to float boats, kayaks, and the like down the river to the shores of Vermont Yankee, their shorefront property. Yep. Throw ice into the river to symbolically cool it down after Vermont Yankee continues to release hot water into the river despite Vermont state regulations. That flotilla, as I mentioned, did not occur. However, there was an international French film crew that decided to stop by, and luckily a few protesters who were relying solely on the initial 8:30 email blast that went out that said the event was on showed up enough to glean some footage from them there. It is on for this weekend, so we'll have more footage than just that, I'm sure.
Saturday
as we
or
continue.
Sunday?
That is a question for more
those that are
well-informed person
involved.
than I. More can be found at ibrattlebro.com. Moving on, last night, speaking of Vermont Yankee, this will segue us well. The Vermont State Nuclear Advisory Panel was in town with FEMA and folks like that. Why don't we go to my close-up for this? A recent meeting of the State Nuclear Advisory Panel focused heavily on ongoing issues between the town of Dummerston and Vermont Emergency Management. The primary conflict between the town and the organization stems from an evacuation plan that the town select board has numerous issues with. Among the folks there was the Department of Public Service Commissioner Liz Miller, who had quite a number of questions about implementation of the plan. She said they've set up the plan. People know what the plan is supposed to be, but it is at this point unclear exactly how it will be put into place.
I understand once the plan's in place, they then have to follow it. I get that. I'm wondering what the process is to create the plan and what places in that process towns have to raise concerns formally, in a way that gets airing.
All right, we're back, Joe. We've got a couple more things to check in with, including the Commons, Brattleboro's independent newspaper. We're going to be taking a weekly trip down there to catch up with Deputy Editor Randy Holhut. He'll give us a preview, sneak peek, teaser trailer for what's on deck. Tomorrow it'll hit newsstands in every town around Windham County. Commonsnews.org is the website to find out more. But let's hear it straight from Randy himself.
Well, in this week's Commons, we'll have a look at the Brattleboro Drop-In Center and how it's making out 6 months after the death of Melinda Busno. We'll also look at what a local option tax will mean for the town of Brattleboro, and to check in on the controversy up in Bellas Falls regarding their new village charter. In Voices, Ken Schneck looks at random acts of violence and how sometimes a punch in the face is simply a punch in the face and nothing more.
Commons hit newsstands tomorrow. Now they are free, but community-minded citizens can get a paid subscription, become a community media sponsor. All of that at commonsnews.org. Joe, I'll throw it back to your close-up here as we head into our next story, checking out Vermont's tenured Senator, Mr. Sanders.
All right, then. Senator Bernie Sanders spoke in favor of the production tax credit today on the Senate floor. The tax credit supports the development of wind-based electrical power, which Senator Sanders says makes up 35% of all new electric generating capacity in the United States.
This important incentive, the production tax credit, moves us forward in a direction that we must go in terms of producing safe, sustainable energy by providing 2.2 cents per kilowatt hour incentive for wind energy produced.
You can check out the rest of that 7-minute video. A few notes before we wrap, Joe. I'll turn you loose on this one yet again as we roll through, and maybe we can bounce back and forth. I didn't get a chance to put in the script Roland, Joe, but maybe we can go.
This is a great item I have a connection to. A few little tidbits from my Brattleboro. Brattleboro Cheese is undergoing a soft opening this week at 30 Main Street. Wendy Levy, the cheesemonger, is going at it on 30 Main Street with high-quality cheeses from Vermont and around the world, and eventually some high-quality grilled cheeses, too. Their sign's still under construction, but customers are welcome to come on down, say hi to Wendy and Will Parmalee, and they're going to be there from Tuesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
There you go. Twilight Music is hosting the Gypsy Jazz Quartet, Caravan of Thieves, and Fiddle, Cello, Hammer, Dulcimer Trill, the Bee Eaters, this Saturday, September 15th at 7:30 p.m. Back to you.
Hey, Donald Harrison will be playing at the New Orleans Jazz Center this Friday, September 14th at 8 p.m. to celebrate the release of his new album, Quantum Leap.
And the West Brattleboro Association monthly meeting will be held this Thursday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the New England House on 254 Marlborough Road. All right, Joe, before we head out of here for good, I just want to make a quick mention of the Select Board meeting that's going on live just down the hall here from us, downstairs, Select Board meeting room. The topic at hand is social media and how open meeting laws and the two can come together to get more citizens involved via the web, things like Twitter and Facebook, and of course that big elephant in the room, the fire station, police station dual combo pack with quite a price tag. They're still discussing that, how to pay for it, how to make sure that the taxpayers are let's just take
what we got anything from there?
I want to just go live down there, see what we're getting down there.
What do we got for Friday's show? We'll have some more information about the upcoming public meeting with the skate park designer that's been selected by the town, and a little bit more information about that.
All that and more. That's right. We'll be back 5:45 p.m. right here on Channel 8. We'll get ready for the weekend, do our 7-town summary and the like. All that and more. In the meantime, I'm Roland Boyden alongside Joe Bushy. Thanks to all you viewers out there that make this show worth producing. Our new staff writer, Justin Harris, who's been working hard today. Content specialist, Maria Dominguez, who spent all day trying to figure out how to get a camera and get out to that VSNAP meeting yesterday. Worked hard to get us some good footage from an important event. To everybody else out there, thanks all.
Stop, I'm gonna go get the other one. Get the car, so you're not intimidating.